Welcome to the Chad and Chong episodes where we have conversations about performance, production, and everything in between. I'm Chad.
And I'm Chong. And I just did the lip smacking thing that I hate. Man.
Yes, you did.
Jeez.
And I'm trying to be more cognizant of that. Welcome to today's episode, guys. We have an exciting episode for you today. If you could tell, you can't. It's hard to tell.
Well,
if you can tell, Chong's got the mouse going on.
Yes, sir.
Snow White's castle.
Yep.
We've also got new microphones. Shout out to Marc Bilderbach and MXL mics. This is the new BCD1 podcast microphone, specifically made for podcasts. So we're super excited. This is our first time using it.
Yeah.
And I think it sounds pretty good.
And they look really nice. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much. Yeah, go and check that. Check these mics out. MXL BCD1. They're everywhere. Sweetwater, Vintage King. We're not sponsored by any of them, but I'm
not
just
yet.
letting you know where to find it. Yeah, Amazon probably. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So back to our topic. If you guys didn't get it, today we're going to talk about Disneyland. More specifically, if you guys didn't know, Chong, who plays the drums, has been playing specifically at California Adventure this Christmas season.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's called the Festival of Holidays, and they've been playing on the Palisade stage, which is the big stage right in front of the Mickey's Fun Wheel and the fountain where they have World of Color.
Yeah.
But Chong, you've actually played in more places than just California Adventure around the park.
Yeah.
Tell us like where all, because this isn't something that just any musician or anybody gets to do. Playing in Disneyland, tell us like how you got plugged in, how it started, like where did you play? Like tell us all about it.
Yeah, so a couple years ago, I actually did a wedding. You were at this wedding, actually. It was with for Kevin Jimenez.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, him and CK. We did a wedding out in Redlands, I believe. The place is called The Grove, maybe. And we initially met there, and I also happened to do a gig with her name is Tina Aldana, the artist that I play for at Disneyland. We did a couple of rehearsals for this wedding and we ended up performing, and it was probably one of the best weddings I've done to date as far as like crowd interaction, dancing, just like it was hype and it was
I was
crazy.
part of that crowd.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you were part of that crowd. And, Kev, shout out to you, man. It was an amazing wedding. And so anyway, Tina and I connected. And we kept in touch throughout the coming months. And she told me, hey, like, are you ever interested in playing cajon? Or she asked me, can you play cajon? And I was like, yeah, of course. I have the whole setup, shaker, tambourine, all this stuff, And little side note, cajon originates from Peru, not from Spain. Okay, amigos y amigas.
And can you translate cajon into English?
Cajon, the box instrument, the one that you sit on and play where your back is killing you if you play it for too long.
It's a literal box.
Yeah, it's a little box. Yeah. Anyway, she asked if I could play the instrument. I said, yeah, of course, And so she's like, okay, cool. Like I have these gigs that I do at times at Downtown Disney. At that time, it was in front of HOB, House of Blues. It was HOB, and now it's Splitsville, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we used to perform there. This is back in 2018. And, so we connected that way, and then pretty much that was it. I did one or two gigs. Then I didn't hear from Tina for months, and all of a sudden she hits me up for this thing called Festival of Holidays, which is still going on pretty much every year. I don't know how long it's been running for, but since I started in 2018, it's been called Festival of Holidays, and they have different themes, parades, all obviously Christmas oriented. And so we ended up starting to perform at, they call it the Paradise Garden stage, which is right next to the Goofy ride. So we performed there, for about a 2-month period. It's typically about 2 to 3 times a week. And then from there, they started hitting Tina up to do Food and Wine Festival. So Food and Wine Festival was during, I believe, month of March to May. And that's also a 2-month period. And then Disney also just started doing the summer season during like June through August or something like that. I was a part of a couple of dates. And then this Festival of Holidays came up again. And Tina decided to call the band Tina and the Sounds of Celebration Band. Or Tina and the Sounds of Celebration is what it is. And, we've been performing there 3 times a week for the last 2 months, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, 6 p.m. and 7:15. Both of the same shows, 2 half-hour sets, probably the best setup we've had at Disney, because before we show up around 11:30 a.m., get into, set up our instruments, start performing around 12, and then we're not done till 6. So it's a pretty much all day event, all day thing that we have to do. Now for this season, we show up at 4:30 to get picked up, to get taken to the park, and then we're done by 7:45. 2 half-hour sets, all our production with the script. We run tracks, it's a whole shebang. So it's been a blessing, man, for sure.
That's cool. So what kind of music do you play? I guess specifically for this, is it just like a bunch of Christmas music?
Yeah.
Because it is, the holidays.
Right.
What kind of music do you guys play?
Well, we do a mix of, different styles of Latin music. We actually, the Disney executives reached out to Tina and said, we want it to be kind of around Latin America. So we did this, she decided to do some salsa, merengue, rock en español, some Afro-Brazilian stuff in there. We kind of touch on different styles of music within the show. We do maybe 2 or 3 Christmas songs, not too many, only because for some reason they didn't want it to be just Christmas oriented, even though it's meant for the Christmas season. It didn't really make sense to us, but it is what it is, and that we've been doing that. So our intro is like Conga from Miami Sound Machine, Gloria Estefan, and then we also end the set with Rhythm of the Night by Gloria Estefan, Miami Sound Machine. So it's, covering different styles from different countries of Latin America, and they're very short. The longest song we have, I think, is maybe 2 minutes and 45 seconds, something like that.
So it's pretty high energy.
It's pretty high energy for the most part, and again, everything is scripted. It has to be a half hour because after the second set, they have to tear down the whole stage, bring down the stage, and then get ready for watercolor, which is right after we finish.
Wow. So there's a big changeover.
Yeah, big changeover. Yeah. And it's pretty fast. They have maybe 6 or 7 people on deck, ready to go and just help with, tearing down all the equipment. Normally I'll leave my stuff there, my cymbals, and, I don't have to bring my drums, thankfully. If you know anything about being a drummer, 20-30 minutes of setting up your instrument and stuff, but and then I'm running Ableton for these for the tracks that we're running for these songs. Thank you to Chino, by the way, for helping me with the setup. I wasn't too familiar with the program, and so he helped me a lot. And now are you
triggering Ableton
I'm
as well?
triggering Ableton as well. Yeah,
so you have a little setup next to you.
I have a little setup. And then the days where Norman, our MD, is not there, I've typically have taken the MD role. Kind of telling the band, hey, here's the next song. I try to tell Tina, hey, this was coming up. Just giving everybody a heads up. And then I'm also triggering tracks. So a lot of people say, Kev, you got to smile. You got you're performing. You're playing at Disney. You got to look happy. But I'm trying to really focus. And make sure that I'm not gonna mess up. That make sure that I trigger the right track because it's all numbered. Unfortunately, I don't have like a MIDI controller. So I try to make sure that it's a perfect show because it has to be. It's Disneyland. You want it to be as pleasant as possible. And just as seamless as possible, I think is the more of the proper word. So
it sounds like you have your hands pretty full for this show. It's what, like three nights a week?
Yeah, 3 nights a week.
And
correct.
You're doing a couple sets per night. So talk about all the prep that needs to happen for this. So who came up with a set list? Did you guys rehearse before?
Yeah.
How about how do you even sound check for something like that? Because obviously you don't want to sound check at the park while kids are listening, and Disney's all about the magic.
Right.
Can you show us a little bit behind the scenes, how the magic all comes together?
Yeah, if you watch on YouTube, you'll see some of the behind the scenes stuff, which I was able to record. I recorded maybe 4 or 5 shows, so I have cool. 2 or 3 hours worth of footage on there. I'm actually going to create a vlog on my separate YouTube channel. So, for you guys to watch. But yeah, the prep was, man, we did 4 rehearsals, actually 5 rehearsals. Okay. 3 of them were out in Los Angeles, in North Hollywood specifically. They were about maybe 2 to 3 hours of each rehearsal. And Tina, Tina is a perfectionist. That's one thing. She not only is she an amazing performer and a great singer, but she's a perfectionist. She loves it to be as great as possible and wants it to be as perfect as possible. Honestly, is what she looks for. So when she was organizing these rehearsals, she wanted to make sure, okay, let's run the set as many times as we can. So that way the 2 or 3 hours that we are rehearsing it's as efficient as possible. One of the days we went to, which was awesome, man. We went to California Adventures to rehearse, and we rehearsed at Hyperion Theater, which, if you guys know about that theater, that's where they used to hold the Aladdin show, and Frozen. And awesome. I had never performed in there. And really, we didn't perform. It was more of a rehearsal, but it's just.
So you rehearsed on stage.
Yeah, on stage
at the Hyperion Theater.
Yeah.
Wow.
We were there, for about maybe 4 or 5 hours. They said, we're gonna run through the set a couple times. So the executives were there. We performed in front of the executives, and this is, after 4 or 5 rehearsals. So we try to make sure that the show was as if we were already performing in front of a crowd.
So when you say in front of executives, does that mean like they're actually also giving you notes and tips?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Oh,
and they're
really?
they're known for editing your show on hand. So they will tell you, hey, actually, we prefer this song after this one, or this song is too long, or this song doesn't really fit the vibe of what we're going for.
Wow.
And they'll tell us. And thankfully, man, they made no edits.
Wow.
They were like, we love the show. We keep it, to the half hour you guys have already set. The only thing they actually asked us to do was, because of the second set that goes straight into World of Color, they told us, look, we want to keep the half hour set. We actually want to trim it down to 28 minutes.
Okay.
So they said, if you can find a way to, make sure that we do the 28 minutes instead of half an hour for the second set, that'd be amazing. So we ended up deciding to cut Oye Mi Amor, which is a song by Maná. It's a rock en español song, actually. So we cut that song, to fit the 28-minute mark. So that was per request of the executives, just to fit and make sure that the tech team had enough time to tear down the setup, the stage, and make sure that they're ready to go for World of Color. So yeah, we rehearsed at Hyperion Theater for one of the days, and then we also did a overnight rehearsal on the actual stage at Palisade Stage. We showed up at 12 a.m.
So when the park closes.
Yes. California Adventure closes at 10 p.m., right? So by 12 a.m., everybody's already gone, for
Okay.
sure. So we show up at 11:30. They pick us up in the van. We get to the park. And then it's actually starting to sprinkle. So we're sitting around, we're like, okay, are we going to sound check or not? Like, is it going to happen? And so we're just waiting and waiting and waiting. And now it's 2:30 in the morning, 3 o'clock. And they finally tell us, yeah, overnight rehearsal is not happening.
Wow.
This was a Sunday evening. Thankfully, I had nothing to do on Monday. But yeah, we didn't get out of the park till 3:30 a.m. and we actually never ended up sound checking.
Wow.
So they asked us, are you guys available to come on a separate day? Sometime this following week, we really want to do this overnight rehearsal with you guys, because we have to set up the lights, make sure they fit each song, all this stuff. We just want you guys to run the whole show. And so sure enough, the following week we showed up. It wasn't cloudy, but it was very cold. It's probably 45 degrees, and again, 12 a.m. call time. We got out of there around 2:30, 2:45 a.m. the next time. I think that was actually a Saturday that we ended up doing that. So yeah, it was pretty hectic, man. Pretty hectic, but it's necessary because it's Disney and they want it to be as perfect as possible. That's really the only way I can really describe how they operate there.
Yeah.
So
that was your only sound check on the actual stage.
Yeah.
And they I'm assuming they just save everything.
Yep.
And every time that you go on for a show,
Yeah.
it's just you're right on. It's
Exactly.
showtime.
Yep. They normally would do an introduction, the voiceover, the girl. I don't know. I'm trying to find out who it is, man. There's this girl that's, she does all of our introductions. She's been doing them for the last 4 or 5 years, and Tina's had different names for the band. It's the Tina Aldana Band, and now it's the Tina and the Sounds of Celebration. Normally that will be our intro. We do a little swell in, with if you don't know what swell, it's just, kind of like shimmering on cymbals. We have a pad with our with our keyboards and bass is kind of doing some low end stuff, and then he'll let me know, hey, go ahead, let's start the show. Hit the button, and then we're off. And thankfully, man, we haven't had any major mishaps.
Wow.
Actually, no. I will say this. I'm totally wrong. One of the days, I forgot my laptop charger.
Oh no.
You know about this story, right?
No.
You know? Okay, so we it was a Sunday afternoon, and I was like, you know what? I realized I didn't have my laptop charger with me. Before I got to the park, I went to Best Buy, bought I think they call it a MagSafe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, MagSafe 2 adapter or charger. I show up to the park, and this is going into the second set. I go up to the computer, and I realize it's only 3% left on the battery. And so I'm like, oh my goodness. So I haven't even opened the charger yet. I have the sound tech. I'm like, hey, can you help me out real quick? It's like 3 minutes before the show. So I'm like, can you open this box and just take out the charger so I can plug it in real quick? She's like, yeah, no problem. She opens the box, gives me the charger. I plug it in. Tell me why
It's the wrong one.
It's the wrong one. And tell me, and this is why I get so upset with Apple users, and maybe I might get some hate for this too. But look, Apple users are always telling me, yo, Kev, switch to iPhone, man. iPhone's the best thing ever. iPhone this, iPhone that. The ecosystem is amazing. Look, I have a Mac computer. I have two MacBooks. I have an iPad and I have an iMac. Okay, it's not that I'm against Apple. I just don't like the iPhone operating system. I prefer Android. I have a Samsung S22 Plus. He doesn't like it. A lot of the homies don't like it. But you know what? I love my phone. I love the way it operates, and I just don't like all the restrictions that Apple has when downloading apps. They're really strict, as you know. So anyway, I've never made the change. But tell me why the Apple charger that I bought, the MagSafe 2, is only, there are 5 small pins that should plug in seamlessly to your computer, but instead of it seamlessly plugging into your computer, it was like this much smaller on the second one. The one I have for the M1 was like a little bit bigger, so it wasn't working. So guess what? By the time the second show started, the computer died. So I'm like, okay. And on top of that, we didn't have our MD, we didn't have percussion, and we also had a sub keyboard player for the day. So what could have went wrong that day did go wrong. You know, we made it work. Thankfully, we know the show so well that I just had to count in the songs, whatever. And, we ended up killing the show, which was amazing, but nonetheless, it's just like, man, this sucks because, I didn't expect that to be the case, so that was probably the only major mishap that, was unfortunate, but other than that, it was great.
Man,
but
okay.
Apple, step up your game, man. Come on.
So this is probably just a question that I really want to know the answer.
Yeah.
But is there like a secret path that you guys take to get onto the stage? Can you tell us? Okay, so when you get to Disneyland,
Yeah.
from the point that you park, I'm sure there's a specific parking.
Yeah.
Then there's somebody that picks you up. Can you just tell the audience and myself, what is that path? Where do you go through? Because if you guys are big, huge Disney fanatics, we all know that Walt Disney World is built on the second floor. So there's a whole corridor underground. But I want to know, because I used to play at House of Blues, and even then at Downtown Disney, there was like some back ways and corridors.
Yeah.
Can you tell us the path of how you get on stage?
Yeah, there are some things that I can say and some things that I can't say.
Oh, you can tell our viewers everything.
But normally we park at the cast member parking lot. I'm not going to say where that's at, but it is a cast member parking lot. We typically will park there, and we have a van that comes and picks us up. Here's the funny thing, though. We have I think it's an 11-piece band, okay? I'm the only person that takes a van.
What do you mean?
It's literally 3 times a week, unless we have a sub musician. I'm the only person that takes this van. Why is that? Okay, the rest of the band will park at a separate parking lot because they don't want to wait for the rest of the band to show up. Even though our call time is pretty strict, we have to be there by 4:30, and we only have a 5-minute grace period. So it's not like the band's gonna wait very long. I'm the only one that will take my stuff on a Sunday afternoon and put it on the trunk, whatever, take my wardrobe, and I'm the only one that takes the van. So every week I feel bad because they send one driver to pick me up in a van. They send a truck driver to pick up the rest of the band because we have percussion. They have to bring their setup. Keyboards has to bring their setup, and their guitar, obviously Alejandro does. So 3 of them go in a truck. I'm the only one that takes the van every week.
So you got like the VIP treatment.
I get the VIP treatment. Yes. So it's pretty cool, but at the same time, it's like I feel bad because I'm the only one taking the van, So anyway, they pick us up. They take us to the backside of California Adventure. So I see, all the stuff, the behind the scenes stuff, costumes, all this, different type of attires that they have. And then we park on the backside of Avalon Street, which is where Pacific Wharf is at. So underneath there, there's steps and all these different things.
But isn't that like water? Is that where water
No,
is?
we're right next to water, but no, we're not on top of we're not like walking over water like Jesus, bro. Come on.
So it's like underground.
It's underground. Yeah, underground. Yeah, there's steps there, and so there's a underground green room that we normally will hang out at during our breaks. Normally I'll go there first,
Please tell me you have footage of this.
I do have footage of this. So
stay tuned, viewers.
Yeah. Stay tuned, okay? No, yeah, and then from there, we take some stairs actually, to get to the stage, Palisade stage, and then, typically they'll rope it off because by the second set, it's kind of crazy, but we always have to walk over these ropes, and it's kind of frustrating at times because I'm carrying my backpack, I'm carrying my cymbal bag, and sometimes the rope is pretty high, so I'm having to play some. Is it called limbo?
Oh yeah.
So go underneath it or go over it. It depends how high they set up the ropes. But yeah, and then we just wait side stage for a little bit, a couple minutes, and then I'm typically on stage about 2 to 3 minutes prior to when we have to start. And then yeah, we get the show going, and from there. So
that's pretty cool. That's some crazy back behind the stage insight for you guys. So obviously not everybody gets to play at Disneyland. This is a once in a lifetime kind of experience. Both of us grew up huge Disney fans. In our third decade of life, we still enjoy going to the parks and just experiencing the magic. Now you get to be a part of the magic,
right?
But I'm sure it's not all glitz and glamour,
right?
Can you just tell us a couple of points? What are a couple of huge pros and cons now that you've played in Disneyland, and for those who are aspiring to maybe someday play there, or who actually get to watch these bands play there? What are some pros and cons about playing at Disneyland?
Definitely, some pros. I'd say off the bat, it's the fact that you get to say that you've performed at Disneyland, or California Adventure specifically. Watercolor, it's the biggest stage at the park. So the fact that you get to tell people, and not only that, but you get to invite your friends if they have their annual pass, or even if they're visiting for the day. Hey, come and check out a show. It's not, it's technically free if you have your pass, but you're spending money throughout the day with food and all that stuff, but it's a free show if you're already there. It's pretty awesome. And just to have the experience of seeing friends come and enjoy the show, get to talk for a little bit, hang out. There's been times that once I finish at the park, I'll just drive myself to the regular parking lot, and then I'll sign myself in, and I'll go back and hang out with the friends that came to visit. That's what I typically have done in the past. And I'll say this too, because I always thought, okay, if we get to perform at Disneyland, like I know so many of my other friends that are cast members, well, they probably have sign-ins, they have comp tickets. I'll probably get that too because I work at the park. That's not the case, unfortunately. Chad was telling me, hey bro, like we should try to organize a day where where you can get me in. I'll shoot some BTS stuff for the podcast. I was like, dude, that'd be great, but I can't get you a pass. No comps. We don't get any of that, unfortunately. I heard, I don't know if it's true or not, but they used to actually give 3 or 4 comps to subcontractors that work for the park. And so, I was like, man, that would be awesome if they brought that back. But, fortunately, they haven't. And, those are, I'd say that's one con. I wish they would kind of, bring that back for us, because it's something that's, you want people to come out and support, or you want to bring out a family member or your girlfriend, your close friend, whatever the case is, and since you are playing at the park for about a 2-month period, you would think that they would hook it up that way, but they don't, unfortunately. So that's a con. The food is not free either. So we have to pay for our own food. It's not like included in a per diem. Normally that's in any musical setting, professional setting, you get per diem per day, which is, maybe, $50 to $75, whatever the case is. We don't get that, unfortunately. So whatever we buy, we pay out of pocket, for. So yeah, that's another con. I'm trying to think of, anything else. I mean, there's not too many cons, but those are the two I would say that come to mind, that I wish they could change a little bit. So, yeah.
So now that you've played in Disneyland, what's kind of some advice that you could give to somebody who maybe, aspires to, to do that? I mean, obviously, like for you, it didn't sound like there was an audition process or something.
Right.
I mean, it sounds like it was through relationship
for sure.
Being a cool hang, these kinds of things that we talk about. What kind of advice can you give them?
Connect with the musicians that work there, or if you know an artist, that is performing there, work your butt off, try to really, I always talk about versatility, at the park, we don't just play, Latin music. We also do pop. We also do some rock, so when I've been called to play at the park, it's for those reasons, because I can play those different styles of music, and I try to play them obviously as authentically as I can, to make sure that it sounds like, this is a rock song, this is a pop song, this is a Latin song. Latin's a little bit more intricate because, you have so many rhythms that fall within the category of Latin music, but typically it's cumbia music, some merengue, some salsa. Those are really the top 3 styles that we cover at the park. If you're trying to get your music career going, and, and that's an aspiration of yours. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to say that you get to play at one of the most well-known locations in the world. And I was thinking about this, Chad, like the other day. I was like, man, like there are millions of people that visit the park, and how much money goes into the spending at Disney, and we as musicians get to be a part of the experience. Just hearing those compliments, man, it's always an amazing thing, and it makes you feel like, man, you're contributing to somebody's happiness. Somebody's, maybe they didn't have a great week, but they visited the park, they saw the band play, everybody's trying to smile on stage except me because I'm trying to focus on the tracks and the rest of the stuff, but yeah, they get to be a part of that experience, so it's all, to me, it's all about that, making sure we set up an amazing experience for the visitors that come and check us out, so yeah, aspiration wise, work your butt off. That's really what it comes down to. If you love it enough, you're going to dedicate time, and you're going to sacrifice, you're going to commit. That's what it's all about.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed that special episode, a little behind the scenes look into playing into Disneyland. Thanks again for tuning in. We really do appreciate your support. As always, please continue to support us by liking the video if you're on YouTube, subscribing to us, following us on our social media, liking and leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. And make sure you guys tune in for the next episode.